What is good, YouTube? This is the first video we've not ever done on this channel, but in the recent times done on this channel that wasn't recorded live. I am pre-recording this because we're trying to make this channel upload daily, which is a whole different thing. But I'm gonna be doing a stream soon, probably today or tomorrow, and watching some Melee content. But that said, I wanted to watch this video by Radar, which I think is really cool. I've actually seen it a while ago, but I think it's really relevant, especially to this channel. So this is how to make Melee content in 7 steps.
Guys,
you can't tell me if it sounds good, so I just have to bank off of it.
How I make my YouTube
Turn up a little bit.
Hopefully, if you're a content creator that's just getting started or you want tips, this video will help you out. Again, obviously, I'm not a YouTube expert. I don't have a million subs, but I think I've learned.
All right, what are some things off top that I could say? All right, so things that I've learned from Melee content that are the biggest to me is make stuff that's positive. This is a lesson we learned pretty hard early on with a video called 10 Things We Hate About Melee Commentary, which is notoriously the worst video we've ever put on our channel. Yeah, that video is based from a very different place than what we currently make our videos. I've talked about this a little bit before, but essentially a big reason why we started making the top 10s in the way that we do is because of channels like Top 10 MMA and What Culture Wrestling. Those are MMA and wrestling top 10s that do sort of a similar thing to us, but are a little bit more cheesy in a good way, a little bit more accessible as well. And yeah, we just basically saw that there was no form of this content being done in Melee, and we were like, oh, you know, I want to cover all the cool stories that we know because we've been in the scene for however long, and it'll introduce us to more things. But with a lot of those videos, it's a lot of like 10 wrestlers who never got famous, or like 10 MMA stars who broke their ankles. Like it's a lot more of just like not necessarily ingrained in the scene, but like I don't want to call it from an outsider's perspective. But yeah, that's kind of where the perspective of what the first top 10 was. And yeah, it was not great. I'm pretty sure it got a very similar like to dislike ratio, which is you know, a great sign that you're doing something wrong. and yeah, so we learned a lot from that, and basically the biggest takeaway that we had is, you know, we like making things that are positive about Melee content. We shouldn't focus on the negatives. And that's actually going to be something that you'll see in an upcoming React video on here that I'll probably talk about more. But yeah, biggest takeaway is be positive. Like, highlights the parts of the scene that you think are cool. And if you have the opportunity to call shit that's whack about your community, you can do so while also upping your community.
And if you're curious, you know, continue watching. This is the kind of content I want to do doing more on Patreon and that kind of thing. So if that's something you like, definitely consider signing up for that.
Fuck yeah, Radar Patreon plug. Let's go.
Do more of this. People like it. That's great for me to know. But anyway, the first step to making a video, whether it's like in a piece or a tutorial or whatever, is the kind of ideas and research and planning phase. Mm-hmm. This is where like maybe I have an idea already, and then I need to do the necessary research to kind of understand what that would look like as a video. So let's pretend I'm making a tutorial for Fox's jab up smash. And when I realized that.
All right, this is the part where I don't really do as much, but I can tell you from my perspective, because we don't make videos that are like Fox's up smash or anything like that. Because it's just, you know, our style. We definitely could. It's not like we don't know shit about the game, but it's just like we feel that that there's many people in that lane. It's like who are much better than we could be. But from our perspective, a lot of this is. So when we're making a top 10 video, it's a good exercise to sort of just like pitch that video's idea to your friends. And I am blessed to have both Ryan Shook I don't give a shit on Twitter, and Sean Shuppies SHUPSS on Twitter, who are both very, very heavily ingrained into making the top 10 videos. So if like any of us have an idea, we have a meeting to like bounce it off of each other and be like, okay, this is sort of like the theme, and this is what we're kind of trying to say, and then hear a lot of the stories that might go into this. And if we're ever like not confident on something, we like pitch it to other people. Michael Allen, Ted Green, both great people, great resources for us. But yeah, we're very blessed to have a bunch of people to bounce off of and be like, okay, this is what we're thinking. you know, is this a good idea? And I think that process is really good. And you can use that for just your friends. You know, if you're making a video and you can become very biased in a good way. Like, you want to be biased. You want to be like, I'm making good content. But to someone who doesn't get the whole picture, who doesn't see, you know, what videos you're going to be using in the editing, who doesn't see like all these different moving parts, just like putting it out blatantly and just like very basically is a good way to test the algorithm. I'd like to say, like, you rough pitching like 3 sentences of what your video idea is essentially the same as a thumbnail and a title, and the thumbnail and the title is you pitching to an audience. That is your way to convince someone to watch your video, and that's why it's become so important on YouTube the last 5 years, where it's just like people say, look, the thumbnail and the title are everything now. Like, it doesn't matter what's in your video as long as the thumbnail and the title are good. So yeah, that's kind of like a good way to test that and just like, you know, concept ideas.
For that, the first thing I need to do is like figure out some specifics about the technique, and that would be done through research, like going to I need data, as in like Falcon I need data.
Yeah, this website's amazing. If you've never been here, definitely check this out. We've used this a couple times.
And testing things myself in debug mode. So, you know, maybe I start to go, hey, does this work against Jigglypuff? When does it work against fast followers? When does it work against, you know, a variety of different characters? And if you don't know how to use debug mode, definitely Google how to use debug mode.
Bro, I'm so bad at debug mode. I've gotten flamed for doing low quality melee clips in the videos before, and I've gotten much better at it. Even in the next video you'll see that we're doing, I think we have a much better idea as to how to use debug mode. But I'm still such a noob, and I try to like watch videos. And these people make videos from the perspective of other debug nerds, and I'm just like, bro, what the fuck am I even trying to do? How do I? What, you want me to turn on this in the gecko code? Bro, I'm computer illiterate in some ways, but yeah, debug mode's great.
Gecko code and Dolphin, or it can be 20xx. They'll help you check out like frame data. It'll help you see hitboxes. You can kind of go frame by frame and see the actions. So it's a really useful resource. But basically, through doing this, you'll learn like what's important and isn't important, and that'll really give you kind of the resources and knowledge to start
that just
writing
looks like
script later down the road.
This just looks like good practice.
Another thing is you also might notice like, hey, actually, jab leads into other combos, and maybe it's worth including that in the video as well, like jab back air or jab up air or whatever. And that's also something that you need to consider, like, what is the scope of the video? As you're researching this, kind of give you an idea of maybe the video shouldn't be just jab up smash, it should be jab follow-ups with Fox, just to use an example. One thing that people ask me sometimes is like, do you have trouble coming up with ideas? And I always tell them like, no, I have literally hundreds of ideas. So if you are struggling with ideas, I wouldn't say it's because you're not creative, but say it's because you don't have knowledge, and it's knowledge that's limited. What I mean by that is like, say for example, if you were really loved ice cream and you tried 100 different flavors of ice cream, and people said like, hey, do you have any ideas about content to do with ice cream? You'd probably be like, yeah, my top 10 flavors, the flavors that taste the best in this setting, like blah, blah, blah. But if you only ever tried vanilla ice cream, well, yeah, you're probably going to have trouble coming up with ideas. The same idea with this is, if you play Melee a lot, like, you'll find all these situations where you're like, yeah,
this is a sick point.
Video about that, and then you research it.
Yeah, I never really thought about it like that. Kind of reacting on the fly here. I've seen this video, but I just kind of forgot this part. Yeah, like to talk to his point, we definitely have thousands and thousands of ideas of what to do. But even still, like, oh, there's a bug in my room. Hold on, stream, there's a bug. Oh, he's not dead. All right, bug killed the bug. I'm sorry to bug fans. I'm not a bug fan. Not a bug fan in this house. Yeah, all right, ice cream analogy. Good analogy. Yeah, we have thousands of ideas. We could go like one of like 6 different directions for our next video, and that's just the ones that we feel like super confident in. So yeah, I've not really thought about, if you're like struggling with content ideas, what to do. My biggest advice would just try to be creative. That's what he said. He said that not just be creative, but I mean like be creative in your thinking. God, why are there bugs getting in? Is there a fucking window open? All right, sorry, I'll deal with that after. I'm getting attacked over here, guys. Yeah, so like just be creative in the way that you think about things. Like for instance, a lot of people, like what I was talking about before, a lot of people are making sort of like frame data videos and stuff like that. So we actively try to take a stance of like, okay, we're gonna be like the narrative people, and we're gonna talk about like narratives, and we're not necessarily gonna talk about how Mingo won pound three, but we're gonna talk about why him winning pound three was so impactful. So obviously, you know, if you don't know all those stories, it's kind of different. But I think there are. I think Darwin does a great job at just like approaching melee content from a completely different angle that not a whole lot of people do. So yeah, my biggest advice here is if you're struggling with video ideas, just try to think about it in a different perspective. Try to think about what's missing in the melee scene. Think about what videos you watch on your own, and maybe like specifically what videos you watch that you don't really know a lot about, because everyone does, right? Everyone watches like countless different videos on different topics. They're just like, I don't know why I watch these videos, but this dude makes good videos, right? Like that's why I watch them. I have similar feeling with recently. I've been watching like war videos, and I'm like the last person to watch a war video, but this dude just makes really good content, and it's like from a perspective I've never really heard before. And yeah, so just like try to think about a different perspective potentially to, you know, flesh out the melee content scene.
You don't have ideas, or you don't have an idea of how to approach it, probably a knowledge gap, and you need to close that gap. So once you
That's
have
true too.
kind of the necessary research out of the way,
Yeah, for us, it's just like, all right, well, let's watch some Last Stock Legends. Last Stock Legends are phenomenal. They've done sort of what we did in one of the best ways possible. So it's like, if we're ever struggling for ideas, let's just watch a couple of these videos, and all right, what were the big takeaways? Why was this video so rad? All right, how do we potentially talk about Bomb Soldier?
the script. And to me, the script is so important. And I know people don't like making scripts, but I think it's what distinguishes my content from a lot of other content.
Mm-hmm.
This video, like, it's a bit more casual. Even still, I did script this out, but I'm trying to kind of make it more casual, like I said. Anyway,
cool. I do these videos because all of our videos are scripts, and like this is the only, besides the podcast is that. But this is just like a candid way for me to talk about melee content, and just like without a script and anything. But yeah, scripts suck. I like writing scripts, so I'm biased there, but I also can't write scripts. Famously have awful grammar and word choice. So I have a couple people who are better at it, and you don't see people making fun of me in the comments anymore because of those people. So yeah, shout out Sean and Brian.
I approach writing an essay. So if you're right now and you're
also awful at essays, I haven't written an essay in a decade, so I don't have this either. But I'm trying to make the point is that even if you're not a great script writer, you can still write a script. You just need someone to be able to, or just like get good at editing, right? You can write, just like write. You have a lot of ideas, just write them all down. Try to make it like, you know, into a concise and accessible way. And then either you yourself edit, it's go super hard. Maybe download Grammarly if you're super desperate. I have not gone down that path yet. But yeah, like even just asking a friend, just like, hey, can you just like read over this? That'd be super helpful for me.
An essay due in like a couple weeks and you're really bummed out about it, you might draw on those skills later or in your videos, and it is a really great way to learn how to organize thoughts. One of the things that I think is super important in general is making an outline. This is something that I think elevates your work, and even if you really don't want to do a script, I think you should still at least do an outline. Again, if we were making a jab up smash,
yeah, outlines is something that kind of, not recently, but the last like 10-15 videos we started really taking seriously. Because previously we'd have like, you know, we do top 10s, right? So it's like an intro. All right, magical cut. We're back. Sorry to let my dog in. Yeah, so last like 10-15 videos we've been taking it a lot more serious. Previously we used to, you know, we do top 10s. We used to have like intro, 10 things, then outro, and then it used to be like fucking 6 or 7 bullet notes under each thing. And we realized recently that contributes to a lot longer video. So we've been kind of like making 4 or 5 points max per entry, and that's helped make it a lot more concise and make us like really consider what the theme and what we're trying to say.
I might outline it like this, where what is the technique? What is it useful for? How do you perform the technique? What are some columns?
So for us, this is the theme. What's the main theme of this video? What is going to be the main point in the intro? Referenced multiple times throughout the video, and then the big point at the end. For our video top 10 phrases, it was essentially this idea that, you don't have to be the number one player in the world in order to leave a lasting impression on Melee. And I think that's fucking a point that we make constantly throughout our videos, because we fully believe that. And yeah, so that came into, like, you can do something, people can think it's cool, and people will copy and, give praise to you because of it.
Challenges, understandings, and are there good alternatives to the technique? And then along with maybe the limitations of it as well. And then under each heading, I would kind of cover that in the video, and that gives me an idea of like where each thought would be going. It's a really good planning tool. Once again, like I said, I would approach this in a scripted way, but have paragraphs under each, and then that would lead me to the third phase, which is the editing part of this. This is, to me, almost more important than the script, because again, it's taking your thoughts and really refining them. So editing is a very, very constant process. It's not just like, good, the script's edited and ready to go. You might find as you're further down the road that you need to edit stuff out. But the biggest skill that I don't hear people talk about that much in regards to editing, actually empathy and being able to put yourselves in the shoes of the viewer. So what do I mean by that? Well, say you're watching a jab up smash video.
This is a sick point. Holy shit.
And I'm making it. I would need to think like, what would someone who's relatively new want to understand, or maybe would get confused by? Think about, like, they were watching this video, they were new, like what would kind of turn them off? What would maybe make them click away? What would maybe make them excited to keep watching? That's kind of what you want to be focusing on. And if you are making an opinion piece, it's kind of the same stuff. Like, what is that person thinking while watching it? Are they going, yeah, I agree, but he really needs to cover this one point and he still hasn't? Well, maybe you should be editing it and pushing that point up further. But I'm constantly thinking, I was watching this video, or I was reading this article, or whatever it is. Would I be just sitting there being like, man, get on with it, man, or whatever? Like, that's what you really want to be considering. And the thing about this is,
Yeah, honestly, I don't have much to add. He kind of nailed it on the head. We do that constantly throughout the videos, and it's just like, granted, we make very long form content on purpose. We try to hit the 20-minute range. But no, that's not a good way to say it. We accidentally can only make those videos, because this is what it is, where we're covering 10 entries. We would feel very slighted if we only did 3 sentences on something that we feel is really impactful. But yeah, that's huge good point.
Process will also help you structure the video. Like, as you answer questions like this, you might realize, oh, maybe we should be spending more time here and elaborating, and maybe we need less time in this area. And of course, you can only do the best you can, but I think it is really, really important to figure out, where things are confusing or what the audience is thinking. Another big part of editing is just refining areas that maybe you could really tighten up. So a really good example of that would be, say I make this jab up smash script, and I open with, jab up smash is an amazing technique, and it's used by Fox players in several matchups. Look, here's this thing of Leffen doing it, and
Super Smash Brothers Melee is a 20-year-old video game. That's how we open every video.
so many times, and blah, blah, blah. And I go on and on about why it's good. And it turns out I've taken 30 seconds to explain why jab up smash is good. And I look at the script and I go, I don't think I need this. And maybe I cut it down to something like, we all know how powerful jab up smash is versus floaties and fast followers, but where is the technique useful and how do we perform it? And there, in like 2 sentences, I covered what I was covering before. And the reason I'm bringing this up is this is the kind of stuff where, like, or sometimes it feels like it's really important to give context in a certain area or to spend some time speaking about stuff, but you really need to think, like, does this need to be here? For every paragraph, for every thought, should this be in here? And if the answer is maybe, or the answer is, I don't know, cut it. Like, just take it out, probably not adding a lot, and really try to make the video shorter. Oh, the other thing that you'll notice with the example,
YouTube's weird, and 16 to 20-minute content does the best on the platform because of algorithm stuff. And also 16 to 20-minute content allows you to put 5 ads in your video and not get flamed by the comments, because it's like, okay, yeah, I watched that many things, which in turn makes it so you can actually make money off of a thing. That's my 2 cents in terms of longer content.
Even I'll hopefully have.
But ultimately, I
right
totally
now,
agree with its point.
that I
Like, I'm not
also
trying to take away
lay
from
out
that.
the argument that I'm going to be doing, again, kind of essay format for the video, even if it's a tutorial. Like, obviously for video essays, it makes sense. If I'm saying like, hey guys, here's the technique. How do you do the technique? Like, we're going to cover this stuff. It gives people right from the start an idea of what they're going to get from the video. With regards to length and stuff, just generally, funny because sometimes people will say things like, oh, he deliberately made the video 10 minutes or 8 minutes.
Yeah, we get that all the time. But it's just like, yeah, I can't. I have 10 fucking stories to tell in one video. If the video doesn't catch your entire attention, you click off at some point, that's totally cool. Maybe you'll come back and watch the video later. Maybe you'll come back and watch a different video. Yeah, but that's kind of the point where it's like somebody could watch up to like entry 4 and be like, okay, I've watched enough. Whatever. That's totally fine. That's totally fine.
So you get that YouTube money. And I can honestly say, like,
I literally said that. I mean, it's not like we like purposely do it, but it's just like it's part of the game, you know? It's the game we play.
Might be still a valid criticism, because there's always going to be things where it's like, in hindsight, maybe I could have cut this down a bit. Maybe I could have made that a bit shorter. So really try to tighten up your writing. This is a great exercise to just constantly be looking at the video and thinking, what should I cut down? What should I expand upon, etc. Editing is very important. There's so many.
Yeah, we've definitely gotten much better at this in recent times, and I think the next video we're uploading is one of the best we've done it, in terms of just being concise and getting to the point. But yeah, great points.
Have an order of the video, and then like the video becomes completely different farther down the road. After that, you have the recording phase, which may or may not be with a camera. I generally don't do it with a camera, but obviously
Me neither.
now. My videos always feature a voiceover, and I usually record
Me
that
too.
prior to make. That kind of gives me an idea of like, here's the structure of the video. I have the script. Now I have the recording. What do I put on top of that? That being said, I do still think visual stuff later, and we'll get into that. It's completely normal when you're first starting out, and even at this point, to kind of stumble over words, get tongue-tied. And so all I can say is just, take your time. These are skills that will actually be valuable in other areas of life. I draw on them when I'm commentating. If I'm public speaking, it's really nice to be used to trying to say things in an eloquent way, or not stumble over my words. But of course, like in this video, there's been times where I've been like, so, it happens. I've reset this video a couple times to shorten it.
Oh, dude, I fucking hate editing breaths. That's my one thing. I honestly took it. Radar's videos do a great job at this, where he does a flawless job at editing the breaths and editing it. So I'm pretty sure he has 2 audio tracks a lot of the times. So when this sentence gets done, this sentence is immediately starting. He might not, but that's just kind of the feel that I get. Plenty of like rap artists do that same thing as well a lot of times. But yeah, we've been getting better at editing breaths and making it so you don't hear Patty go before the sentence every single time. But God, I hate it so much. It's so annoying. Editing audio is weird because, I mean, not editing audio, recording audio is weird, because I think there is a part of it where you have to be a little bit of a narcissist. You have to kind of like enjoy hearing your own voice, and I get fucked up when I hear other content creators be like, oh yeah, I hate the sound of my own voice. It's like, really? You haven't it's like kind of a thing that you outgrow almost, because yeah, I definitely had it at the beginning where it's like, oh, I hate editing my own voice, but by like the 4th or 5th, and you once you hear yourself say the cool thing, and the easiest way to say it, once you make a video that you're proud of, then I think it becomes a lot easier.
But yeah, definitely practice that. When you
oh yeah, just like don't sacrifice the good of the video for your own time. Meaning, if you think you might have stumbled over a word there, go back. Just go back and re-record it. Oh, a cool thing I can say is that, okay, let me, random paragraph generator. Okay, I'm just gonna read this. All right, I didn't even find what I was actually trying to do. So, okay, let's say that I'm recording this. Right, this is the audio that I'm recording. If you're looking for random paragraphs, see right there, I already fucked up, right? If you're looking for random paragraphs, you've come to the right place. When a random word or a random sentence isn't quite enough, the next. All right, so I messed up there, right? I purposely messed up on the next logistical step, right? But I'm confident that this take was really good. So what I purposely do is I go, sentence isn't quite enough. See, I fucked it up again. This is perfect. Isn't quite enough. The next logical step is to find a random paragraph. So I just basically like use the breath as a place to continue the sentence, but specifically the big thing is you have to say the last couple words previously, or it doesn't sound right. Because if I just went, the next logical step is to find a random paragraph, it might not queue up perfectly just because you're not in that same rhythm that you were previously. So commas are a great place to do it a lot of time, where it's just like, this is the spot where you can go back and this can be the part. And if you're getting caught up a lot, like if you just can't say logical for whatever reason, like I just did, then you just go back, just go read the sentence from the beginning. Because if you just keep re-saying the same thing, it's just gonna sound like gibberish to you. It's the same thing where if you say a word so many times, it just like doesn't sound like a real word anymore. So yeah, that's my advice, is that when recording, if you feel like you nailed that first part of the sentence, and especially with us where we write fucking run on goddamn sentences, there are points where you can go back and continue the sentence from.
By the way, as for the editing, you'll get an idea of whether or not they kind of make sense in your head. Good technique for writing essays too. And when you record them, you might realize like, oh crap, I need to rewrite or re-edit some stuff. So it's another big part of the process for me. Next up, we have the visuals and video editing step. So the script is finished and I've recorded all the words, and now I need to make visuals. Sometimes the visuals are pretty obvious. This is actually, to me, probably the hardest part. If you're making a jab up smash tutorial, you probably want clips of players doing jab up smash, and you want clips of yourself showing the technique, maybe clips from.
Yeah, this is what I think Radar's really good at, is just conveying what he's saying through the melee clips that he's showing. Yeah, I think he's really good at that. Something that we try to get good at. And for us, another part of this is we do skits in all of our videos, like not like skits with audio necessarily, but like skits in the middle of the thing. So if we're talking about Pearl Jam, right, for referencing Pearl Jam for whatever reason, very likely that we're gonna cut to Ryan in Pearl Jam t-shirt. And that's just like a fun visual gag for us. And it's another thing where we try to like, separate us from the pack of just like YouTube, not necessarily melee content. But yeah.
Debug mode or whatever. But
debug
usually
mode.
I have the
Debug
visuals
mode.
in mind. Sometimes
so
they
good.
don't work out. Sometimes they do. But try to plan ahead for what you need and kind of.
Yeah, like our entire videos, like all of those IRL skits and those melee clips are all storyboarded out. Our process is think of video, plan out meaning like all the entries that are involved and mini points on each of those. Write the scripts, edit the scripts, and then from there we add like, it's called like compile clips for us, and it's where we put in multiple videos, and like, so like one paragraph will likely have like, okay, this needs melee shot number 6, this needs IRL shot number 7, then this needs like 6 different scar clips or whatever, commentary, and all of those are planned out to what part they're going to be. It's not necessarily like we're just compiling a bunch of scar commentary clips. It's like, okay, no, this sentence we're going to be showing this. So yeah, we storyboard our videos out pretty hard, but not necessarily everyone does that.
Visuals in mind, but you can always kind of fill things in later. Another visual thing that I think is really important, kind of establish a bit of a style or brand through the colors and font choices and things like that you use.
Active Grotesque, EX bold, extra bold actually, and Cooper Black. Those are the 2 fonts that we use all the time in every single video in recent times, and as well as the fonts used in the Allston Melee Bender. And then we use Calibri and thumbnails very often, because that's the Ludwig text. It's the easy to read big bold letters thumbnail stuff that people use. I've seen Impact a couple times, and that's wild. Never seen Impact on thumbnails till very recently, but that's also one that kind of works.
You don't need to be like a design expert, but say for example, if every video you're like changing the fonts that you're using, and it's not something that you're doing consciously. Like lately, I've been kind of experimenting with fonts to find a better style. But
Yeah, it took a while for us to like figure to find ones that we fully liked. In the early days we used Trojan Pro 3, which is like a movie text trailer thing. That's just because I thought it was badass and I was using it in AMVs. Shout out Don't Text AMVs. That's the secret Patty channel. I don't really upload there very often, but yeah.
if you look at my micro melee videos, I'm using fonts, pretty consistent colors. That makes people go, oh, look, it's another
Fucking
micro
bug.
melee video rather than just kind of random stuff. So just be mindful of that. It's something that really does go a long way. Like pick a couple fonts that you like. Lots of free fonts available through fonts, and pick a couple colors you like and draw on those a lot. Next up, we have the kind of gear section. I think people too often in creative work focus on gear that they have. There's a term called GAS, which is gear acquisition syndrome, is when you're obsessing over like, I gotta get a new microphone so I can sound even better. I gotta get a new camera. I know myself, I want a new camera. That's why I don't generally do videos with my face. But usually in a lot of cases, better writing, better editing, just tighter skill generally is
The entirety of all Simulator's videos up until the bender was made on a 2006 ThinkPad, and that ThinkPad could barely run Premiere, and it tried its heart out, and it's still upstairs to this day, but the screen's broken at this point. Yeah, but I'm saying that point to say that, like, yeah, I totally agree. You don't need the best gear in order to make a really good video.
a lot more value than upgrading your equipment.
Also, the very first video, which is very poor quality, and I shouldn't be using it as an example. But the commentator's video that I talked about earlier, that's the worst video, was recorded on an iPad microphone in a bathroom. Very bad. Another whatever. I'll talk about this later, but there's definitely a bunch of audio things you can do to make your audio better. I covered this a little bit in when I watched the Melee Stats video, just showing the noise reduction thing. But yeah, Audacity's canceled, so don't know what I'm gonna do there.
That being said, there is still some stuff that I would say is
Use the old
mandatory for
version.
making videos. Probably the most important for me is a solid microphone.
Yeah.
Despite what you might think, bad sound is actually more impactful than bad video. So, for example, like I don't look perfect here. Obviously, I have like pretty good production value, but even if I have,
I have the gamer mic. Let's see if this works. Please don't unplug. Please don't unplug. I have the HyperX quadcast one that all the streamers use. It's just a easy USB plug. We have real mics for the podcast, XLR, and an XLR thing, but yeah, I just needed something easy to be able to record, and this is pretty good. It's like
really really low quality, which I'll show you guys right now. I'm gonna edit this. So this is a clip where I only have that little floodlight in the back, and you can see obviously the image quality is a lot noisier, but the microphone sound is still decent. Whereas if I had audio that sounded like this, you're probably gonna immediately go, I gotta turn this video off. So again, this is just a clip. Here's what it looks like with bad lighting, which I'm gonna cover in a second. And here's what it looks like with good lighting. Again, the same camera. So yeah, bad sound, very important. Probably the first thing I would invest in.
Yeah, eventually I'll cover all the stuff that we do to make our audio sound good, but it's a lot of just Premiere stuff and a couple Audacity tricks.
Don't have to spend a ton of money. There's a couple microphones I recommend. One is the Fifine, whatever the word is, microphone. It's a USB condenser mic. It's like, I think like $45 US. It's dollars Canadian. Then the other mic I'd recommend is the Samson Q2 SAMSON. Again, I'll have these in the link description. Both of these are fairly affordable mics. One is a dynamic mic, one is a condenser mic. Neither of them require an audio interface or anything fancy. You're going to have pretty good sound without having to commit too much towards it. However, if you get a dynamic mic like the Samson Q2, or in my case, a Shure SM57, you will need a little microphone stand. That way people can hear you. Dynamics mics will also require you to have a bit of mic technique. That's something you need to get used to as well. In terms of editing software, I use Premiere Pro to edit my videos. But
I use Premiere too. It's fuck Adobe, but it's a good program. I hate fucking Adobe. Fucking such a dumb company. I have to say this because I fucking hate their guts. But I still use their shit.
Resolve, which is an alternative to that.
It sucks. I tried. It was so hard. I hate editing software.
Completely free. I know people will often be recommended like, here's an alternative to Photoshop and it's free, and it like usually kind of sucks, but this is an exception. It is amazing software. People who are like straight up professionals will use it to color grade real video. So
Yeah, I have heard that that's the best use for it as well. That's what I was gonna mention.
definitely check that out. That in mind, if you're using Sony Vegas, I used to use, please switch to Resolve or to Premiere Pro or something. Vegas is
I also used to use Vegas, but only like a long time ago. I used Vegas to edit Naruto X Sasuke Riot AMV by 3 Days Grace. Shout out to Sasuke Rules 1016. I'm dropping all the secret channels in this fucking video.
so many problems to do even basic stuff. The skills are not very transferable. Little rant, I know, but don't use Vegas. Um, if you're recording with the camera, I've already kind of touched on this a bit, but I would really strongly recommend investing in lighting before you focus on a camera itself. So for example, as I showed before, like lighting can have a so this is one light and a little ring light.
This is what I look like right now.
Ring light.
Yeah, I this is not the normal Allston set. So I'm not using a good camera. I'm literally just using laptop camera.
Just the light, and then I have this little kind of fill light in the background or practical light. But this is like a $30 ring light. Again, link in the description, and it does add like a lot, and I can kind of see it here. But that adds a lot, and it's like 30 bucks Canadian. So I think it was like 20 when I bought it. But like look at the difference. And then
Yeah, we have cheap ring lights too. Ours break all the time because we treat them like shit. But yeah, definitely suggest that.
add a couple.
Yeah, the ring lights are definitely the most important for recording skits and recording the podcast.
All of a sudden. So the reason why I bring that up is basically that if you are making a video and you think, oh, my visual stuff, like my camera doesn't look good, chances are upgrading your light will take you very far in making the picture better. Even if you do buy a new camera, like a really fancy $1,000 camera or whatever, you're likely still going to need good lights anyway. So that's why I'd recommend investing,
Very true.
lights, because you're just going to get more from it. Last but not least, got the video ready. You've got the gear, it's all done.
All right, this is something I didn't mention. When we're making a video, title and thumbnail is as important as the fucking what's in the video. Because like I said before about thumbnails and titles are the way that you pitch someone the content. That is something we are very actively thinking of now. And there have even been times where we have put off doing a video because we didn't have a good idea for the title and thumbnail. Yeah, this is your pitch. This is how you're convincing a random person to watch your video. It's essentially like if you were to just like go up to someone on the street and be like, "Do you like this? Do you like this? Yeah, yeah." And it's the title and the thumbnail. So yeah, this is super important to us, and yeah, we care super hard about the title and thumbnail.
And you need to make a title and a thumbnail. So this is something that I myself am still learning. So I don't feel totally confident in
red arrows, baby. Red arrows, the recent thing we've been fucking doing to death. We're gonna do it till we figure out something better. Red arrow, pointing red arrow to something, and then big Calibri text and what? This is the fun thing about this channel specifically is this is me just like fucking around with thumbnails, and yeah, we don't do like content with our faces in it like that. Like we've never used ourselves to really clickbait a video because we're not clickbait. Putting Leffen on the video is a lot more beneficial to us with big white outline. But yeah, like thumbnail's huge. Something that we're still kind of learning about is the bottom right half of the video is just fucked because it has the time. So if you put any words there, it's just fucked. One of our videos recently got totally owned by that. But yeah, why are bugs getting in my fucking house? All right, we're back. Killed bugs. We did it.
He gave a lot of tips. And one of the kind of quick TLDRs from that was that you want to make a thumbnail that's not too visually complex and easy to understand, as it's going to be viewed on.
Yeah, it's super true. Yeah, we shrink all of our thumbnails to the super smallest thing possible just to see if they're actually a good thumbnail.
Helpful to like zoom out when you're looking at it.
Totally.
You want to make the thumbnail different from the video title. So if the video is
nailing it.
This is something that I actually need to go back for my old videos and fix, and I have been doing that. Where like maybe the video is rest setups, and on the thumbnail it says rest setups, and it should be kind of different information. As for the thumbnail itself as well, you want to make sure there's only a couple elements you're focusing on. You want, if there's going to be text on it, you want the text to be pretty big. People aren't going to really phone or their computer and like look at the small text. There's just too much visual information. So again, focus on kind of big stuff. I generally make my thumbnails in Photoshop. That's obviously there's other obvious
Paint 3D, baby. All of our thumbnails are made in Paint 3D.
alternatives to that too. But yeah, and then as for the title, try to come up with something interesting. Be honest with what you're doing. I don't really love.
I refuse to give Adobe more money than I already do.
But I'm far from an expert, so experiment yourself. Hopefully this video was helpful. Obviously it was a bit quick. Maybe it could have been shorter, but I wanted to get out content like this a bit more often. And if this is something that you'd like to see more of, I will be doing more of this on Patreon. I'll be sharing those videos.
Sick vid. Everyone oh, I went to the end. Everyone go hit the subscribe button, Radar. Oh yeah, we commented on this a while ago. Yeah, great video. I feel like I gave as many tips as we kind of have. This is kind of like the whole basis of the channel. So if I can't think of anything now, like I'm sure there will be more stuff that comes up in future videos. But yeah, like to make melee content. So just do it. Who cares, right? If no one watches it, who cares? Yeah, it's just a good way to highlight the scene in ways that everyone has a different perspective and everyone can highlight those perspectives. And yeah, great video. Great video. All right, I'm getting out of here. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Hit subscribe on the VODs channel. Do it. Do it right now or else I'll come and